Tak for det, Peter. Og tak fordi I ville høre på os i dag. Jeg hedder Peter Buhl Jensen og er CEO. Med er Ulla og Claus. Der var de, ja. Så Ulla er Chief Operational Officer, og Claus er vores nye Chief Commercial Officer. Claus, kanskje du kan råbe op de ord.
Okay, my name is Klaus Frisenberg. I just joined the Oncology venture family. I'm just going to present my background so you get a little knowledge about who I am. I'm Danish by origin, but actually the last 5 years been working here in Sweden, in Varberg. Before that, I was working within strategy consulting, doing a lot of work for risk capital, private equity funds, helping them discovering and making the value of the companies very visible to investors. And that I was doing for quite some years, for 15 years, working all over Europe and also a little in the US. Then 5 years ago, I was asked if I could do something completely different, and I was asked to become the VD or the CEO of Echo Shoes in Northern Europe. I think here in Sweden, most of you know about Echo Shoes. Luckily, it's a great market for us, or it is a great market for Echo. I've been running this business for the last 5 years, and then an opportunity came up. I know Oncology Venture from the start. I went in as an investor already when the first emission was done on Aktietorget. So I've been following the company for the last 5 years, and now I am to work together with the team on really making visible the values, the great values that we have of the company. We need to make this clear for investors all over the world, and this is what I'm going to help Peter, Ulla, and the rest of the team with. I'll be around and will also be able to answer any questions. Okay?
Thank you, Claus. And we look forward to your efforts, Claus, and hope that you can brand us as good as Echo Shoes. So we have, as you know, Oncology Venture, we listed in Aktietorget in 2015. And we were endowed with a share price of 714, and we are now out doing a rights emission to existing shareholders of 16 kroner 30, and we are, you could say, in the middle of that right now. And what we do is oncology drugs, focusing cancer drugs, so that we can match cancer patients and drugs. That's the technology. It's you could say digitalization. Actually, it's more like using the huge amount of data that we can get today from a lot of cancer models that gives us the opportunity to identify the likely responders. How difficult is it? I think you have to think about cancer drugs. The difficulty here is to develop something that kills the cancer cells, but is leaving the patient. It's very often very toxic, but it shall always be worse to be the cancer than be the patient. And it's very difficult. You can identify a lot of smart things in cells and in mice, and you can develop stuff that really looks interesting, but getting all the way to having an effect in cancer patients, where you see tumors shrink and you see that the patient survive longer because you can attack the cancer, is very difficult. There's a lot of companies working on it. This is the price for developing cancer drugs or drugs, general drugs, is $2.8 billion. And that means that the average price for producing products are extremely high, 23 million Swedish krona. So we were in TurboTarget before many of the people in Oncology Venture. We developed 2 products that had them approved. We didn't spend 2 times 23 billion krona. So we were lucky, or maybe we were also had some good ideas. But you have to take in consideration how many companies that actually fail before they get their products approved. So the price is extremely high, but it is, I mean, you can discuss, somebody means that it's less. There are other discussions that it's only $648 million. I mean, compared to Oncology Venture, what we're doing, I think we are in a very interesting position. We in-license products that has shown in patients that they actually work, that they can kill tumor cells but not kill the patients. So we take products that are very late, that has been invested hugely into them before we take those products in. Our products have all demonstrated that they are able to kill the tumor cell and they are able to give an advantage to the patient. Those products, where we can help is that we can focus who should have that product. The product is not, you can say that the task is to be sure who should actually be treated, and that's what we use our, you could say, more advanced genomics analysis to match the patient and the product. So we've now, just here before Christmas, we announced that we could commence on our irofulven. This is a product that we started when Oncology Venture was launched, that this was the product that we would start. It has taken us 2 years to manufacture. We now have it, and we believe it's a super tanker. It's a product that really, it works in 10% of prostate cancer patients, and we will be able to identify the high likely responders. If we can get that 10% up to 20 or 30 or 40, we have a success with that product. So that's, we just started, and we've screened 70 patients with prostate cancer in Denmark and in Sweden, and we are aiming to get the product tested in those patients, the sensitive patients. We have I think, a very good team with a lot of experienced people, and most important is Sten Knudsen. Sten Knudsen is the brain behind you can see the algorithms of identifying the responders based on genetic analysis. We have a good, you could say, efforts also in the US, 2X Oncology, where we have a private company that is you can spin out of Oncology Venture, where we have George Elston and Marie Faux. Marie Faux is, you could say, sort of very experienced in discussions with the American authorities, with the FDA. We have also a strong advisory team with very experienced, highly professional experts in cancer. We predict response to cancer drugs, and it is basically, if you think about cancer, it is no longer, det är inte en gåta. Man kan faktiskt se cancer som väldigt komplex, men det är inte någon gåta. We don't see it as an enigma. We now know what happens. Always when there is a cancer, you have things that happens in the cancer cell. This is stuff that has to happen in the individual cancer cell. So it is like the gaspedalen sætter sig fast i sådan en celle. Den börjar med it starts to divide, and the brakes, bremserne stops working. And you can say there's 100 ways that the gas pedal can be stuck. There's a lot of ways that the brakes can stop. Normally, a cell that is not functional is committing suicide. We have some very social cells in us, but the cancer cell is antisocial, so it kind of doesn't want to take that into consideration. So you can say we can calculate that there are, if you multiply all that, there's only 9 million ways that you can get cancer. So it's a very, from a Sten Knudsen, the founder, working with big data, this is not really a problem. It's more almost that you can think about that cancer always comes from our own cells. So it means that there is a limited number of things that actually can happen. It's a lot of it's a high number for us, but from a numbers, you can say experts and big data, this is not big data. So we have a opportunity to say that we can predict response if we use really, I think it's not only the mathematical models or the supercomputers. I think the most important is the founder, Sten Knudsen, who has sort of developed these models and used a lot of data to develop it, and it works. So we know the cancer, it is a disease in the genes, and we have a gene test to predict the response. We need to have a tumor we need to evaluate the patient's tumor, but every time you have a cancer patient at the hospital, the tumor, you need to see the tumor at the pathologist. So the tumor is always at the pathology department, and you can get a sample. So we've screened 1,400 patients in Denmark with metastatic breast cancer. We asked the patients or the doctors and nurses whether we could look at the genes on their tumors. And one patient said no. All the others were saying, okay, I didn't even know I had my tumor at the pathology department. And we test that tumor, and it gives us, you can say, 1 million of data points. And this is, you can say, the guidance that helps us in our drug precision. So normally, when you have a drug development, this is a cell, and you have a drug and its target. So you have that, you develop your drug to hit the target. So you have this is how conventional, you can say, oncology companies work. You say, we want to have this, and this is what works in mice, and then it probably also works in cancer patients. But very often there are things that even if you have the target, there's repair, or there may be other things that the cells don't commit suicide, or all kinds of things. So what we built in from several cell lines, information from many cell lines, is much more, you can say, broad information of not only what happens when the product works, but also what happens, how can we predict when it will not work? All the other things are in our system. We can use this drug response prediction to protect our product also, so that we will use the product, but use it with our DRP, our drug response prediction. So this is going to be a test to use the product. Every time we have to do the test to use the product, and we have patent on that. And that means that we actually have a combined patent that gives us much more, you can say, much more time. In the US, this is approved together, and this gives us, you can say, 20 new years on our product. And this is an evergreening of the patent. Does it work? We have just published together with Danish hematologists in multiple myeloma, myelomatose, multiple myelom, en cancersygdom, som sitter i benmarken. You can see the bone are actually being destroyed by this tumor. It's a terrible disease. There is a lot of products that you can treat this cancer with. Here you see 14 products where we all have a prediction. And you can say that this is kind of how we see the future with such a prediction system, is that we can say to this patient, those red ones you probably should not have. They will not give you any benefit, but those, they all work. And when we look at more patients, we can get, you can say, we can get a picture of the individual patients. Here we can see this patient that the melphalan stuff is really, she's very low in sensitivity to melphalan, and she's high in sensitivity to bortezomib. So that should work, and this she's resistant against. So if this is a one patient, but here we have 67 patients, and you can see how it varies. So it's not like there is a simple system. Some are sensitive and some are not sensitive to different products. There are even patients here that are only sensitive. This patient there is only sensitive to ibrutinib. So if we give the wrong product to this person, the tumor will grow and not stop, and that's of course terrible. So you can say that this is how we see a GPS in the future for how you can help cancer patients identify their right products. Right now, this is not what we do. We buy products where we have a good signal, so we know who should actually have the product. And that's Oncology Ventures, you can say, business model. We look for products where we can identify responders, products that work. And we don't have to make big trials to demonstrate that this is functional. So if a prostate product works in 10% of patients, we screen 100 and treat 20. And then we expect to have a high response rate in those 20. Maybe we can have a 50% response rate, maybe a 30, we don't know, but we typically only treat 20 patients with our product. And if it doesn't work, if we're not able to increase the response rate, then we should not move that product anymore. But this is basically you can say, a simple model for testing products with our model, and we have in-licensed now 6 products where we're doing the same concept with all of them a little bit different from product to product, but basically testing in few patients. We have products that are, you can say, new targets raised. we've got a PARP inhibitor here from Eisai. There's a race going on. There are a couple of companies that are billion-dollar market cap companies in the US based on this type of product. If we can identify the responders with this product, we have a huge success. This is immuno-oncology. There's also a huge race going on. Irofulven was a product I just talked to you about before. We've just started that. We expect to start trials with this product in this spring. We have our most advanced, where we're in the clinic, is Liplacis with the cisplatinum. This is an existing compound that we have in our cancer drug. We also have another one with doxorubicin. These are, you can say, lipid bubbles, or you can say sort of a 100 nanometer lipid bubble with product. It's a liposome with a product inside. And those type of products are actually also popular out there, even if it's an old product, but it's a new way of administering the product. Here we see 2 deals that has been obtained with those kind of products. A liposome with RC, cytarabine, and daunorubicin. This is old. This is how we treated AML when I was a young man. This is still, but now you put it in the liposome and you can sell the product for 1.5 billion. So Jazz Pharmaceuticals bought the company Celator. Ipsen bought the Merrimax liposomal irinotecan for also $1 billion. In TopoTarget, we developed belinostat, and we sold it to Spectrum for the American market. And here you see belinostat on this the last ASCO meeting, the cancer meeting. This is their presentation booth, and what you can see here is that this product is working in 25.8% of the patients see a reduction in the tumor. So 1 in 4 has activity, and we got it approved. We had an agreement with the FDA that if we could have in 120 patients, if we could make it work in 20% of those patients, demonstrate that the tumor shrank, we would have that product approved. So that was approved based on a 26% response rate. You can see that there are side effects. Almost everybody's got side effects, but only 1 out of 4 actually gets the effect. And what is the price for such a product? The price for such a product that is able to extend the survival of cancer patients, the price in the US is 300 to 350,000 Swedish kronor per month. And it works in 1 in 4. So there is a huge business. If we can change cancer products to successful products, there is also a return in investment. But there is, of course, also giving time to patients, that we can have patients surviving longer. And this product also gives a longer survival in those 25%. This is a product that was developed without the DRP. We now have those products in Oncology Venture pipeline. These are some of the products, but we are just ready to go. And that means that those products could also have a similar fate that this. If we can get 25% response rate with those products, we can have them approved. This is Irofulven. You can see a patient with prostate cancer before and after treatment, and you can see how the metastasis has disappeared. The patient survives longer, but it's only 1 in 10 unless we can identify. If we can get that up to 25%, we can have it approved. But if it's 1 in 10 only, it's not approved. That's why we can buy those products, because they cannot be used before we can get the response rate up. So we buy products in this setting, and then we develop them to success. This is a patient with a brain tumor. And normally you see the picture going from this, that it gets worse, but here you see that it gets better. And this is a brain tumor where we are sure we can predict the liposomal doxorubicin. So this is a product we've also bought, a product that has demonstrated activity in cancer patients, and we can identify the patients that will respond. The next product is the liposomal cisplatinum. Again, this is a patient with skin cancer, came to phase 1 unit, got 5 cycles of Liplacis. We were able to, or they took him to surgery so the plastic surgeon could remove the rest, and 1 year later he was tumor-free. So again, a product that we are happy to have in our pipeline. So we are now working with this liposomal cisplatinum in breast cancer, because we know that 10% of the patients, only 10% have benefit. But if we can work with the product, we can improve. And we've demonstrated now that we can work with this liposomal cisplatin in breast cancer. It's actually not as toxic as we thought. We have been able to take patients in also that are with liver metastases and with sort of very sick patients. And we also have been able to demonstrate that we can predict who benefit. We are recruiting, and here at the end of January, we'll come up with the, you can say, updated on 12 patients, the data. What we have is patients we had previously we demonstrated the 5 first patients, and here you see how it looked. So in average, they had a control over their tumor for 25 weeks. That is, you can say 26 weeks is half a year. And here these patients have been treated very, very long. So they got all kinds of previous treatments. So between 8 and 12 previous therapies. So those patients have really been treated for a long time with other products. And what we see is that we can see that we can have this patient, even if the patient did not respond to the previous product. This is one of the products that was given to the patient, one of the products that is already approved. So they gave that to the patient in the age line, and she had a benefit for 16 weeks. But with our product, there was a benefit. Giving after this product, we had a benefit of 32 weeks. We expect that we are able to demonstrate that. If we can give a 3-month survival advantage to cancer patients, a product will be approved. Liposomal cisplatin cannot only be used for breast cancer patients, but also for lung cancer patients, and a lot of other cancers out there would be sensitive. We then have, within the last half year, we've, I think, seen something that we did not anticipate when we listed, and that is that we've got products, you can say, directly from Big Pharma. We're now getting the Eisai compound and the Novartis compound, meaning that we get access to products earlier than we had anticipated, but also that we may be, you can say, a Big Pharma preferred partner when their drug target plan does not really work, but the product works. We will be able to identify what happens if our model can predict it, and we can develop the products. This is the tyrosine kinase inhibitor. We just announced a week ago that we now take the license to this product, and we like it very much. The product is one of a type that those products sells $1 billion annually, and we can see that our product here, compared to sorafenib, which sells $1 billion annually, is completely identical. So now it's not even, you can say, less active than the others. It's just basically as good as the others, and Novartis doesn't want to develop something me too. But if we can identify the responders, if we can identify the patients that do not benefit and only treat the patients that benefit, of course we have a fantastic story. So we hope that we can get rid of those patients that do not have the benefit, and we can treat those patients. And then we'll be, basically compared to the other products, we'll have an opportunity to be best in class with our product. Here you see the product tested in a patient with a resistant to other products. And this is the black stuff here is tumor, and the patient was treated 4 weeks, and you see how the tumor disappears, and what you see there is normal kidneys and a bladder and a heart. This is okay. It was a very nice effect of this product in this particular cancer disease. So we have taken the license. We will take the license. That's what we've decided. We have here, you see the Novartis compound. We also have the Eisai compound, and here, this is the green. This is patients that we predict sensitive to this product. Again, we feel comfortable that we can identify the patients that will benefit from this product. We focus, most of the trials we do are in breast cancer. This gives us an opportunity to test, you can say, because we've screened 1,400 patients with breast cancer, we can treat the patients individually with the product that may fit the patient best, so that we can have more than one, you can say, opportunity for a patient that is being screened. It's a quite effective system, and the doctors, of course, also like it. We have a very good collaboration with all the Danish breast cancer doctors, and are able to build this database also in the future. So that's basically how we see Oncology Venture, and we see that we have the opportunity. We've now, within 2 years, been able to get 6 products in our pipeline, and we now are, you can say, ready to start. And I think that the Liptasis is our first patients that we have screened where we are using our test directly in prospective studies, and it looks good.
Thank you very much. Frågor? Inga? Jo då, här kommer första.
Emissionspengarna då? Vad ska de användas till och hur länge räknar du med att de kommer räcka? Tror du att du kommer att kunna få några avtal så att du inte behöver göra fler? Eller?
Altså det er jo det som er vores chance, at vi får skabt data med vores Liptasis, men også med de andre produkter. For om vi har succes med Liptasis, der kan man også tænke sig, at så får vi vel også en chance for, at de andre får mere interesse. Men det er en bra fråga. Vi har jo rejst kapital hver halvte år siden 2015, og det er jo hårdt for vores aktionærer, og jeg vil takke jer for jeres support. Og vi gør jo, kan man sige, nu rejser vi penge nok til 2018, men det er klart, at hvis vi ingen deal får og ingen salg får, så kommer vi skulle rejse penge igen. Og det er en mix mellem, når får vi en deal, når får vi solgt et produkt, og hvor mange data skal der til. Men vores koncept er, om vi i psykopatienter kan få en fordobling af effekten. Der vil den første, kan man sige, that's why we start with Klaus, so that we have a commercial director, so that we can start the sales process and sell a product. And one sale is of course going to change the company considerably if we do a global sale that we've seen there. Maybe the first deal is not as big as that, but we of course aim for that.
Tack Peter. Vi har en fråga här.
Det var ju mycket information att smälta på kort tid. Kan du återupprepa Irofulven, hur du ser på tidsaspekten där? När finns testet?
Yeah.
Och
so the question on Irofulven. So we've taken Irofulven from, you can say, scratch. That means that we were able in the US to find the fungus, the swamp that produces Irofulven, and it took us, you can say, two and a half years to have the product up and produced and having the authorities to accept that we do the study. We had now in December 22nd, the Danish authorities says we can start the clinical trial with Irofulven, and we have screened now in Lund and in Copenhagen and in Vejle, we've screened 70 patients with metastatic prostate cancer. We don't know when they can go into our trial. They don't all go into the trial. Some of them are, you can say, they are being pre-screened. We expect to start the trial these months. And when will we see enough speed on the enrollment to come up with data? We have the last 6 months ago, I think we announced that we would work with Smerud, so that we have a professional CRO to help us recruit patients so that we can live up to the expected timelines. We will, you can say, the typical situation that's like Liptasis, we will look at the first 88 patients and say, if no one responded of the first 8 patients, this is not fruitful. If 4 out of 8 response, we are very excited. So you get midterm data, and you can say, when will we expect to see that? I would say that we expect to see that sort of in late autumn. That should be possible to say how it looks. But I know that you now write it down and put me on it, but it's okay. I think it's probably quite likely.
Okay.
Late autumn, 8 patients.
Tack för det. Peter och hans team vill stanna kvar. Kommer att stanna kvar och kommer att delta i lunchen. Ett stort tack för idag. Lunch serveras. Välkomna tillbaka.